Hello, and welcome back to another SecureWorld Spotlight series. I'm Brad Graver, president of SecureWorld, and today I have a distinct pleasure of chatting with William Lidster, who's the CISO of AAA Washington, and also was checking out your LinkedIn profile, and I noticed that you have an MS, an MBA, and a PhD. So, you know, the full alphabet soup of degrees there. So congratulations on all those accomplishments.
Thank you. Took some work.
Yeah, right. Yeah, I don't think there's any more mountains to climb on that front. So, okay, William, tell us a little bit about your role at AAA.
Sure. I'm Chief Information Security Officer, which is a typical, security leadership role for the company. Responsible almost solely for everything that has to do with our establishment of an information security program, our compliance program that are responsive to our risk tolerance, and our risk acceptable needs, and our compliance requirements. We have a couple simple ones. We're not heavily regulated. As a small company, wear a couple other hats too. I happen to be the champion. I don't want to say I own it, but kind of look to lead and guide business continuity planning in the company, and also keep my ear to the ground on all things privacy related, especially with Washington seemingly getting closer and closer to passing privacy regulation.
Do you work with CISOs of AAA offices across the country?
Oh, definitely. It's interesting. We have I would call a sister club out of Portland. I don't work with that CISO that much. Don't know why. But definitely some of I don't know why. It was a connection that didn't make, but definitely working with other CISOs because we're all trying to do the exact same thing. We all have the same standards for achieving NIST cybersecurity framework standards for security for our risk management. So we're always exchanging information on how are you doing that, and when we can, leveraging maybe a little bit larger size for buying power or other things like that.
Got it. So at the beginning, when I introduced you, I rattled off all your academic degrees. But let's rewind the tape. What made you interested in cybersecurity, or what kind of path did you have to get into this industry?
Sure. Not a normal path. I graduated West Point. I was an Army officer, but I had a computer science degree. When I got out of the military, you might remember a company called Zenith Data Systems. They made Zenith Heath kits and all. Needed a technical person to. My territory I was stationed out in Germany was Europe, Middle East, and Africa. Didn't know I'd be I didn't know I'd be into technical support for all of our customers across those areas. Got promoted, moved around, but then I had an opportunity with IT leadership at the State of Alaska Department of Public Safety in Anchorage, and that got my feet wet, I would say, in 2007. 1997. And all of a sudden I'm like, oh, okay, this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to be a CIO someday, My hat started to get more and more involved in security as security technologies were formulating with a little bit more maturity. The threats became valid, a little bit more applicable to our industry. And 9/11 actually was the turning point. When 9/11 hit, and there was a big concern people had about not only the loss of life or whatever, but business continuity, and do you have disaster recovery? And that's part of the A in the CIA triad. And all of a sudden they're like, well, that's security, and we don't have a security guy. And all of a sudden that was it. So I got my first cert as a CISM in 2003, and I've never looked back.
Wow.
And I'm in security now.
Yeah, you are truly in security. So, well, thank you so much for your service as well.
Oh, yeah.
I'm sure you've got many stories to tell, but I wanted to put that out there. Okay, moving forward, today, you will be moderating an opening keynote for us at SecureWorld Seattle on November 6th. The title of that keynote is How CISOs Can Elevate Influence and Become a Business Driver. And a couple of your panelists are Maggie Amato, who's the BSO at Salesforce, as well as Rob Davidson, the CISO of Pacific Blue Cross. What kind of topics do you hope to dive into?
Yeah, Brad, I actually, when we came out and we're looking at options, I introduced that particular topic, but I wanted it to be a little bit different. And in the suggestion of putting it together, I wanted to, in a panel for people with experience, say, let me tell you what we're doing to be successful, and then to actually give some takeaways. I think sometimes in panels, we say, well, you need to talk the language of the business. Okay, yeah, that's a good general statement. And we're doing more hand wringing on, okay, how do I do that? You know what I mean? And so I would say the biggest takeaway, and I hope we achieve it, and as a moderator, I'm going to try to achieve it, is get a little specifics within what we can disclose about, how we conduct cybersecurity in our organization, on how it is that we've become true business partners, truly influential, in our organizations, so that we could elevate our cybersecurity posture, elevate the importance of cybersecurity, get the attention that it needs. And, personally, in the last 5 years, my budget has tripled in 5 years. Most cybersecurity leaders don't have that kind of luxury, can say that, you know what I mean?
You just made a lot of people jealous.
Probably, but and I'm not saying, because I had everything perfect. I think a lot has to do with my environment and the organization I work for that had lots of room to grow also, right? We weren't necessarily significantly mature, and, now we're going to still spend 3 more times our money. But, but there was a lot of key things that we did that I would like myself and the panel to share, so people come with something actionable and palatable that they can walk away with.
I love it. I love it. Well, thank you so much for volunteering. I think it's really important to note, too, that we will have a BISO on that stage, right. So I think that adds another, for some organizations large enough that have a BISO, a way that they work with the CISO as well, I think it will be an important distinction to make, too. So
I think it might be worthwhile asking her, what is a BISO versus a CISO, and letting her have about 30 seconds to explain that. Some people may not understand that there is a true difference.
Yeah, add it to your list of questions for sure. So, Okay, my hardest hitting question of the Spotlight series is, let's get to know William a little bit more. What do you like to do to recharge and rewind, after the AAA work, which is never done, is done?
Yeah. I always find time to get physical activity and physical fitness in. I used to be a big golf lover, but I've had to kind of give that up for my new passion. If you go on my LinkedIn, I teach a lot at night. I teach at night for University of Washington. I teach at night for Penn State, San Diego State University, California State University, Long Beach. So, I'm teaching 4, sometimes 5 nights a week. And so that keeps me off the golf course, but also keeps me out of trouble. So, I'm not in the cigar lounge with my bourbon as much and saving a little bit of money because that got expensive, So I definitely spend a lot of time teaching right now.
Well, hey, good for you. And your students are lucky to have you, somebody with not only your academic expertise, but your real life expertise that you bring into the classroom. So I love hearing when people in your role and with your experience are giving back to folks coming into the industry. So well done. And, and hopefully at some point you get to, rediscover that those things that hit the little ball around it with. So
maybe, hope so.
Awesome. Well, William, thank you so much for your time. Thank you so much for being a longtime member of our Seattle Advisory Council, and can't wait to be up there on November 6th at SecureWorld's Seattle and hear the talk.
You got it. I look forward to seeing you there, Brad, and thank you for your time today.
Awesome.